Hello everyone, very good morning and good evening. Parminder here. Welcome to SAP S/4HANA Simple Logistics session number 9. I hope you all are able to hear me clearly and you can also see my screen.
Yeah.
Can anyone please confirm? Okay, that's great. So we'll follow the same model. I will quickly go through what we have done in our last session and then we would proceed it ahead. Okay, so our last session basically was purely dedicated to the best practices. So whatever the best practices we are having in Activate that we have discussed in length and breadth, we have gone into the in the SAP portal of Activate methodology where the best practices are there, and we have explored what kind of different documentations are available and how those documentation can be used in the different phases of a project. So first we try to understand what is the best practices, what has been given within the best practices. We also discuss about the best practice client. What do we have in the best practice client? We have a model company, standard configuration, master data, business partner, test scripts. All the documentation has been provided that so that it can be installed and somebody can start using quickly SAP with the best practice scenario. They would be able to experience it. Then we went ahead into the documentation of the SAP best practices. So the first we see that process flow diagrams, test scripts, and the test scripts are also, and the process flow diagrams are also available as a BPMN2 files, which can be easily downloaded and used in the third-party tools which supports BPMN2. Then we went ahead and first we discussed what are the process flow diagrams. So this is a best practice process flow diagram for sell from stock, okay, which basically shows that what are the different steps we need to do and who are the different people who would be involved if we want to run a sell from stock scenario as per standard SAP best practice scenario. So that is the standard SAP best practice scenario. Then we also discussed that how to use this in your current projects, in the projects, how this can be used during your fit and gap workshops, or you can also activate this with Solman and then you would be able to modify in Solman, or you can download BPMN2 files and then you can create your own custom process flow diagrams as per the business requirement in Solman or in third-party tools like Aris. Then we went ahead into the detail of test scripts. So we see that the test scripts is a very detailed document which gives us a step-by-step approach that how we need to complete a best practice scenario. So SAP has given system, SAP has given master data, SAP has given configuration. Then they have also given a documentation which your core users or business users or end users can go through it. And step by step, they would be able to complete the scenario by following this test script document. Here they need to click what document number, what customer number, what material number they need to enter. Each and everything has been provided in the test script document. Then after that, we went ahead into the best practice explorer, and there we have seen multiple different accelerators. So we have seen that all of the things which we have seen in the test scripts is also available in the Excel formats. What are the forms which will be supported? The list of the forms are there. Which master data is available? That is available. How the org structure has been designed. Those documents are available. And we can also download the full content into Excel sheet to identify if we want to run different scenario, what are the different Fiori applications which will require to be activated to run those scenarios. So that thing we have discussed, and then we have also discussed at last that why to use best practices, what is the exact use of best practices, how it can help in the project. So we said that in fit and gap workshop, where basically we go ahead and gather the requirements. Generally, we use a PPT document presentations. There basically now SAP recommends to use this best practice client. where basically we need to show end-to-end cycle on a SAP system to business so that they can better understand what is the system, how the user interface would be there, what would be the look and feel, so that you would be getting a better and the clarified requirements during your requirement gathering workshop. So in depth, we have covered the best practices in the last session. Today, we will be proceeding ahead with the guided configuration, a small topic, and then we will discuss about the methodology and how it is supported by Agile. So before I proceed ahead, I will take a quick pause to check if any one of you has any question before we proceed ahead. You can ask it now. Okay, if we don't have any question, we will proceed ahead. So far we have discussed about best practice. Okay, now we are going to discuss a little bit more on the guided configurations. So what are the guided configurations? What do we mean by guided configuration, and how the guided configurations are available with S/4HANA? The guided configurations are basically one of the core pillar of your Activate methodology, and it would be separately available for your cloud edition and on-premise edition. Basically, if you will ask me, guided configuration is more relevant to your cloud edition rather than the on-premise edition. In on-premise edition, we still use SPRO to do the configurations. Although there are two more transactions are available, and one transaction has been introduced in 1909 related to the solution builder. So solution builder is also SAP called it as a guided configuration. Okay, but this is not as guided as it has been given in SAP S/4HANA Cloud Edition. So in SAP S/4HANA Cloud Edition, basically what they have provided two configurations. In cloud, they have provided two configurations. First configuration is self-service based configurations, and second configurations are expert configurations. So our training is on-premise system, but I will just give you a little bit, I will show you that how you can see this self-service based configurations or expert configurations. How does it look like, that we will discuss about. Our full training, we will be doing a configuration through SPRO only, because that is what available with on-premise. And I will today show you these transactions, which has been newly introduced as a guided configuration with SAP S/4HANA. So in cloud one, SAP has divided into self-service based config. This can be done by business itself. Okay, setting up your org structure, configuration related to the partner functions, partner function determinations, text determinations. All of this configuration are part of your self-service based configuration. But few of the configuration SAP has put it in their own hand. So if the expert configurations are required, we need to contact SAP, and then SAP do that configurations. When initially the cloud was added in 1610 version, there was a huge amount of expert configurations are there, which business or business consultants were not able to do directly on cloud. But with the current developments with 1709, 1809, 1909, they have increased the self-service based configuration, and they have reduced the expert configuration. Now there are very few expert configurations are there for which we need to ask SAP to do the configuration. Most of the configurations would be happening through the self-service based config. Now what is a self-service based config? The self-service based config would be kind of a Fiori application, which is managed solution, would be a Fiori application. And from this Fiori application would be going to the configure my solution. And from there it is little bit easy navigation. It is little bit easy of doing of in one screen itself you will be able to see your company code, plant, and different things. So the navigation is easy, and the way we do the configurations, the way we maintain the data is also easy. Although the most of the screens in the configurations will look like the same as a GUI screen. So in cloud, in SAP S/4HANA public cloud, GUI is not available. Only Fiori is available. So all of this need to happen through Fiori. Okay, so that is guided configurations which would be available on cloud. I would jump into the on-premise, but I want to show you, although we don't have a cloud system available, and this training is also not about cloud, but I have a presentation deck which I will show you quickly so that you can have an idea that how the configuration would be done, and the look and feel you would be having a little bit of idea. So this is for the cloud edition, basically, which talk about the self-service and the expert configuration. So you can see that this would be the expert configurations, which would be done by SAP. We need to request SAP. They have given the templates. We need to fill the templates and create a service request to SAP to get that configurations done. And most of the configuration would be through the self-service configurations. So this is manage your solution kind of tile would be there in Fiori. And once we go into the detail of this manage your solution, we would be going into configure your solution. And here we will be getting this kind of screens where basically we will be able to quickly search that we want to do the configurations with the sales related configuration. You can put the application, and then all the related configuration will come up with the status. Okay, and you would be able to proceed ahead to do the configuration. In the right hand side, more detailed steps will follow. Let's say you have clicked on the partner function. Within the partner function, what step in the sequence you need to do, that sequence would be available, and configure button would be there. As soon as you will click on the configure button, system will open a configuration screen. So that is how the self-service configuration, or that is how what SAP called as a guided configuration, which would be available with the public cloud, SAP S/4HANA public cloud. Okay, nothing much is changing, only the look and feel and the way basically it is the way it is structured, and the navigation is a little bit easy in the public cloud. Okay, before I go ahead and explain that how the guided configuration would be available in S/4HANA on-premise, which we will be using, if you have any questions, you can go ahead. Okay, if you don't have any question, I will quickly jump into the on-premise configurations. So on-premise configuration, let's quickly jump into our system to go through the on-premise configurations. So I have been logged in into 1909 system, our 1909 system. So this week onwards, our practical session would start. So you can also take access to the system. You can request you can request to access the system. We'll guide you how you can raise a request to access the system at the last of the session. Okay. So now we are discussing that guided configuration, how it is available on premise. So for on premise, SAP has given these two transactions /smb/bbi and /smb config guide UI. So this transaction has been added in 1909. Okay, SAP called these both of the transaction as a part of the solution builder and the guided configuration. But personally, I don't like these transaction. Anyhow, this would be just a reference. All the configuration you need to do, you need to go into SPRO, and we need to do the configuration from SPRO only. So your screen looks exactly same in the GUI. Some people might have been seeing some different screen. I will first show you that how you can first adjust your screens when you log in to GUI of 1909. Okay, so there is an option available here. Okay, within that we are having options, and within that, if you'll go to the visual design, theme preview settings, so you from here actually you would be able to activate. You would be able to change your theme so that it can exactly look similar as per Fiori theme. So you can also switch to the Fiori theme. So this has been on the signature default. Okay, so from here, let me go into theme previews. So one of the theme would be having your Fiori based theme. So in this we are not having, actually it depends on the version of your GUI. So in that version of the GUI, we are not having a Fiori theme. Otherwise from here, you can actually also uh, activate your Fiori theme. So this screen also, although it is GUI, it would be adopted to the Fiori theme, and the screen would be looking like Fiori, although it is a GUI, but screen will actually look like Fiori. Okay. Now let's go to SPRO just to show you that how the customization would be happening with SAP S/4HANA. So the SPRO screen looks similarly. Okay, we have same enterprise structure. We will be going ahead in the next session and we'll be creating our own enterprise structure. Then sales and distributions configurations or the production configuration, everything is there as the same. Through the SPRO transaction, we would be doing a configuration in the on-premise. It's not changing. Okay, so our main configuration window is still same SPRO configuration. The new function and features which has been added, let's say the AATP, back order processing, okay, ABC, alternate base confirmation. For them, most of the configuration SAP has removed. They have given its kind of a master data settings. So for the new feature and function, you will see that there is very few configuration which we need to do through the SPRO. It's kind of a master data settings SAP has given, which can be done directly through the Fiori and directly in the production system. Now going one step back, and then now we will discuss that what are these transactions? What is SMB BBI and what is SMB config? So first, if I go to SMB BBI, okay, so here basically you can see your best practice solution. Here the best practice solution has been activated for us is the My Solution US. If I will go inside it, I will see that what are the different scenario has been activated or available in this best practice solution. So I have a sell from stock. I have a free of charge delivery, sales quotation. So these all are your basically business processes. So if you will be clicking here, double click here, actually it will take you to the best practice. So our system is not connected to the internet. If it is connected to the internet, you will see the same stream of the best practices, where basically you would be having a detail here, and it will also show you the process flow diagram documents and your test script document here. Okay, once it is connected to the internet. So our remote desktop is blocked to the internet, so it doesn't go to the site of the best practices. Sorry. Okay. So here, the other option which is available is building block builder. If you click on the building block builder, it will be showing you all of the scope items which is there. So let's say sell from stock, you want to see what are the different building blocks and what are the configs which is available. Okay. So from here, you would be able to see that right hand side, you see the building blocks. This each building block is actually having a set of configuration which need to be done. Okay. So that set of configurations, first we will be doing it. You will see that it shows huge amount of things. It shows the general ledger accounting also and other things also, although we just want to do sell from stock. But as you know that SAP is an integrated solution, SAP is an integrated software. So even though you want to do sell from stock, there are a lot of things which you need to do related to your FI configurations, your material documents related configurations, configurations, SD configuration, business partner configurations. All of these configurations you need to do. All of these building blocks need to be set it up. Then only your sell from stock scenario would be working. Okay, so here, so let's say we are having here the basic setting for business partner. So you would be able to see from here that what are the different objects are there which need to be configured. Okay, still a not very good approach so far. Okay, this is just information which is there available which you can use as a reference. So I would be going into the next transaction and I will tell you that how a little bit of config information SAP has provided in the current 1909 version. Okay, you can actually go into that define BP roles, this one. The below it will show you that if any required notes are there or what the exact object need to be configured, that information you would be able to see it in the below window. Yeah. Okay, so I would be here going into this transaction SMB config guide UI. So in this transaction, what we can do, I will be selecting all, include T code, IMG path, header overview. So this is a new transaction which has been introduced. It has a lot of bugs also. Many times it gives dumps. Okay, so generally whatever SAP introduce it, it takes around couple of versions, couple of new versions. So 2020 or 2021, it gets streamlined, which will be more easy to use. So here you would see that first we need to give the solution ID. So in our solution ID, the My Solution US that has been activated. And then we need to give scope item ID. And you can see that there is no F4 for scope item ID. And we need to also give the building block ID and there is no F4 for the building block ID also. So this information we can get it basically from here. This is the scope item. So US underscore BD9 underscore OP is your scope item. So I will enter that information here. US BD9 OP. And within that scope item, we are looking configuration of building block BNF4 space XX. We need to type exactly same way. So to use this transaction, you need to actually use this solution builder. So once I put it here, BNF4XX, that is a building block ID, and execute, it would be showing me a little bit detail of the configuration which would be required to prepare that building block in the system. So which building block we are looking at? We are looking at building block BNF4, which is basic setting for business partners, employee user creation. Okay, so that to do that, what configurations are required? That's what we want to check. So it will take a little bit time to load, and once it loads, it will be showing us the IMG path and a link to the IMG documentation, and within the best practices, what data has been provided and what data can be maintained there. That information we would be getting it from this tool. So by the time it is loading, okay, it's already loaded. So this is the information you can see here. So first, it is saying that we need to define business partner roles. Don't worry that how to define the business partner roles. We'll be going into the detail in the configurations. I'm just trying to show you what SAP provides as a guided configuration. This is your object against which the configuration is required. This is the IMG implementation information. So when you will click it here, you will be getting information that what kind of things we need to do under this transaction. So this is a standard IMG information, which actually, when you go into the SPRO, you click on any node documentation page, you see this documentation. So same documentation you would be able to see from here, that how to do this configuration. Okay, and then the IMG path has been given. So we need to go into the implementation guide, supply chain management, treasury and risk management, CFM, business partner for functional services, SAP business partner. So this is the path we need to follow. To go to the business partner, there are the multiple different paths are available. SAP is showing this config is showing this path. I will also take you to the another path for the business partner, where basically from the centralized components also, you can go ahead and do the business partner config. Then if you go further below, it shows you that what are the things which will be configuring here, the role, view, position, and tile. So these are the roles which can be maintained for this configuration. Okay, so this is the guided data which has been given. These are the role categories are there, which can be maintained. Okay, then it goes ahead and it tells that what are the different things we need to do it. We need to define the number ranges. We need to define the groupings. It shows that what kind of number ranges has been provided with the best practice installation. That system is guiding it here. So this is the information which is available under the guided configuration. One of the, even this is a very lengthy documentation. Even somebody is fresher, he wants to go through it. It's very difficult to go through these documentation. I don't know why SAP has created and provided. I hope they will improve it and simplified it the same way they have provided it for the cloud edition. That is more simplified way to do the configuration. But as of now, it is just a document which has been provided and not of much help. Even though if they have provided that we can click it here on the sub object and then it directly goes into the configuration window and we do the configuration there, that also would be kind of a help. But that also is also not available in this version. So short story, guided configuration in S/4HANA on-premise is basically the SPRO only, and there is no specific guided configurations available. We need to do the configuration through SPRO. People who has already experienced in the configuration, they would be finding it quick to go through the SPRO nodes. identify it, and do the quick configuration rather than following this model, which is more complex and can take more time. If I need to do the business partner configuration, I don't need to, I don't go to this documentation. What I do, I directly go jump into the SPRO. SAP reference IMG, cross application components, SAP business partner, basic settings, business partner roles, define BP roles. So once I know this path, which once I will show you, or the most of the experienced consultants who know most of the configuration path, it is quick for them to go through into the SPRO, or in SPRO also you have a find functionality here. Basically, you can type a business partner here, and it can identify that where that node is there, where you can do the business partner config. Or you can type here in the search BP roles, and then it can show you that what are the different nodes are available where you can do the configuration of business partner roles. Okay, so I will take a quick pause to check if you guys have any question. We have completed the basics of guided configurations. Okay, in our on-premise solution, the next steps after the Fiori, when we jump into the configuration, we'll be using a SPRO to do the configuration. For new features and functionalities, we'll be going into the Fiori and do the settings in the Fiori applications. Okay, if you don't have any question, I will move ahead. I will be moving ahead to the next topic, and our next topic is Activate methodology. So before I go into the Activate methodology, what I will quickly do is I will provide you this transaction course, which we have gone through in this documentation. This documentation is also available in our cockpit. You can go through this documentation.
Parminder,
Yes, please.
This guided configuration is a part of Activate methodology. Is that is it correct?
That is correct. Guided configuration is part of a Activate methodology.
Okay. Now you are going to explain the methodology in detail, because I'm just confused. Like, we are discussing Activate methodology.
We are discussing Activate methodology from last 2 sessions. It's everything which we have discussed is part of Activate methodology. So the first thing I have shown you is Activate methodology has a 3 pillar. We don't call it, the first thing I explain is don't call it as Activate methodology. Activate is basically a framework which have a multiple things to it. So methodology is one of the pillar, and the 2 other main pillar is the best practices and the guided configuration. So within the Activate, we have discussed the guided configuration, we have discussed the best practices, and now we will discuss the methodology, which is one part of Activate.
Okay, yeah, clear. Yeah, thank you.
Parminder, you mentioned on-premise and Hana Cloud version. So on-premise is what you are showing us, 1909. So when you say Hana Cloud, is that a different ETNA, something like that, or?
Yeah, so basically we are having 2 versions here of S4HANA. One is available on public cloud. Okay, one is, and another one is available as your S4HANA public cloud and on-premise. So on-premise is what we have showing you. On-premise is the one where basically we'll be doing our full training. On-premise is the one where basically the 95% of the businesses as of now in the current scenario, they are adopting to the on-premise. So as a question has come up, let me quickly explain that what would be the difference between the on-premise and the public cloud. What I will do you over the weekend, once we finish this week's sessions, I have a video basically we have done in another trainings. I will share with you over YouTube, where I have explained in detail the cloud computing, and in the cloud computing what are the different kind of cloud services are available, and in that we have also gone in detail of the difference between on-premise and public cloud. So let's quickly discuss what is on-premise and what is public cloud. So you are using ECC, your client is using ECC, right? So this ECC is basically on-premise license. What do we mean by on-premise license? That SAP gives you that license of the software, and with that license of the software, you can maintain your own configuration, you can maintain your own master data, and wherever you feel that this system is not supporting you and you need to do the enhancement, you can freely enhance. Even you can create your new code, or you can create a new set of module within the ECP because you have a full license. So that kind of changes you can do, and it is on-premise, where basically your network, hardware is available on-premise within your company. So your company, before they start ECC, they buy server. So server is staying within the company premises, one of the location they will identify, and they will put the server there. And then you would be having a team who is monitoring and controlling this server. Okay, that is basically your on-premise in ECC. The same way the on-premise is there for ECC, the same way the on-premise is also available for S4HANA. Okay, the same way you was using ECC, you can buy the server, you can install it, you can do all the changes which is required. You can use the same way the S4HANA on-premise. Apart from that, between on-premise and between public cloud, there is also called something called private cloud. Now, what is private cloud? In private cloud, you have your S4HANA on-premise solution, but your server or your hardware is on cloud. So what do we mean that? Rather than you buying a server, you went to AWS, Amazon Web Services, just example, and you said that you host my server, you provide me the services for the infrastructure. So the infrastructure services we have taken from Amazon Web Services. They have given us the server, and on their server we have installed S4HANA on-premise, where still we have all of the license to do the enhancement, create new code, and other things. All of the access would be there. So that is the private cloud, where we are still on the on-premise solution of S4HANA, but the hardware is there on cloud. Then the third one comes, which is the public cloud. What happens with the public cloud is basically this is a complete cloud solution. You can compare it with, let's say you are having your Gmail or Google Drive. So when you use Gmail or Google Drive, you don't install anything. What you do, you just take a subscription. You can take a subscription for a month. You can take a subscription for a year, for 1 user, for 10 users. You go ahead and take a subscription. You don't only own any hardware. Okay, everything is available. So your servers, Google is managing the server, Google is managing monitoring and all the other capabilities Google is managing. What we are doing, we are just using it. Okay, your Google Drive or the Gmail functionality. And anytime if there is any upgrades comes up, Google automatically upgrade our application, where basically we get, sometime we get a pop-up or some applications are auto upgraded. Even you would not come to know that your Gmail has been upgraded. Your Google will even not would be coming and asking you that they are going to upgrade the functionality. And some application where you have taken a subscription, it will ask you to get yourself upgraded because the new version is available. Okay, you just need to upgrade yourself and all of your functionalities would be working in the upgraded version that has been made sure by the service provider. Okay, and rather than giving a license, they are giving a subscription. So you are having access to subscribe or to use it for certain number of users for certain time period. And you need to keep renewing your subscriptions. That is the public cloud model. So S/4HANA is also available on public cloud. ECC was not available, but S/4HANA is available, where basically the ownership of your application, database, or server or hardware, monitoring, managing, everything is there with SAP. You just need to subscribe S/4HANA. You need to tell the number of users and the time period which would be required. And with that subscription, you would be directly able to use S/4HANA. You can do your configurations, the self-service configuration you can do. You can set up your master data. So once config and master data is set up, you can start quickly using it. You need not to worry that where the server is, how to buy the server, where to buy the server, whether Amazon will host or who is going to host it. That is not our headache. That is the SAP's headache. So with this, what is the disadvantage of this is, the disadvantage of this is that it is not a license. You are not having a license, which means that you will not be doing freely enhancements by yourself. So if any enhancement or any modifications are required, we need to contact SAP, and SAP on the special request with the additional charges, they would be giving us the enhancement and the customized solutions. Okay, wherever we need to do the additional enhancements, that would be done by the SAP. That is a disadvantage. So this basically the public cloud adoption is very low as of now because of that. Mostly it is adopted by the people who want to basically start using SAP by putting a minimum investment, by putting a minimum ownership to it, and they basically are willing to adopt to the SAP standards. Rather than changing a lot, they are willing to adopt what SAP provides to use it directly. So that is basically three kind of solutions we have: on-premise, private cloud, and the public cloud. I hope your question has been answered now.
Yes, it's answered. Thank you.
Yeah, Parminder, I had one question here. Based on your explanation, this public cloud, how does the support model work? In that case, there will be no support model at all, like for a date, like if there is any configurations required and all, it will be handled by SAP, is it?
Now, most of the service-based configuration is handled by the business itself. So business need to make sure that to do these configurations, you would be having either a core business user or set of your in-house 2-3 consultants, or you have taken from some implementation partner, you have outsourced those consultants. So to do this configuration, that people would be there. That would be your internal support model. Wherever these people will find that they are not able to do the configuration, this configuration is need to be done by SAP, or there is some enhancements need to be done, they need to approach SAP. SAP would be taking us the appropriate function specification documents, and then SAP would be developing it and delivering it back, and they would be doing extra charges. So for that kind of support, SAP will provide. So it is basically mixed support from SAP plus your in-house support for the things, master data maintenance, self-service, or guiding or training the users. You need to make sure that you have enough support available for that.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah, thanks, Parminder.
And in terms of security, would you say that public cloud is less secure than private cloud, Parminder?
Okay, so security is always an open question. Basically, it is said that if you are having everything in your ownership, in your place, you feel it it is more secure. Okay. Apart from that, what I feel is that it is not like that the cloud systems are not secure systems. The only thing, whenever you are going for the cloud system, please go with the your partners, which is the knowing partners. Okay, so SAP also make sure that they ensure the data privacy, they ensure the data has not been shared or data has not been leaked. So that kind of things they can ensure. Even the data is there in on-premise, still from the on-premise also the data can be hacked. Okay, so it is not like that the on-premise is more secure, but yes, the ownership is with us. So whatever things we want to do, whatever the things, monitoring, checkings we want to do, we can do on the on-premise. So still, it is totally depend on the approach and the mindset of the companies. Many companies feels, and many companies laws actually doesn't permit to go and share the data on the servers which is staying outside their premises because of the data confidentiality guidelines and the principles they have made. It doesn't allow. So that's why the companies go ahead with the on-premise solutions. In many places, actually, your country law is not permitting to saving a data outside your company premise or outside the country. So we got stuck with a couple of examples in Europe, in France, and a couple of more places. The company was dealing with the defense equipments, and the country law says that if you are dealing with the defense equipment, your data should not store on the third party devices. So your servers should be there within your premise only. So they don't have an option to go for only on premise. The cloud is not an option for them.
Yeah, I also fall into the same bucket actually. That's why I asked.
Yeah. So many people fall into the same bucket. That's why the adoption to the on-premise is higher. That's why I said that 95% people still adopt to the on-premise because of they have their policies issues, countries issues, country laws issues, securities issues, and then they also want to have a full control on the application to do the development, whatever they want to do.
So public cloud is something like Ariba. Ariba we use for from.
I think
Ariba,
Ariba
right?
is available in both on-premise and public cloud. So
Okay.
public cloud, there are some solutions which is only available on public cloud. That is one of the solution is IBP. Integrated business planning is only available on public cloud. Your success factor is only available on public cloud. Those are the examples of your public cloud softwares.
Okay. So it is only, by seeing this, only applicable for small scale industries or some opening companies, just for them, or who are trying to adopt to SAP.
Yeah, so I am trying to check personally from SAP sites and forums if SAP has declared that the number of customers who has adopted on the public cloud. There is news that there's a couple of Fortune 500 companies, they are going with SAP S/4HANA public cloud. Okay, but still they have not gone live, and SAP has not disclosed that who are their customers actually who are adopting to S/4HANA public cloud. They are showing the number of figures of the customers who have been adopted to S/4HANA, but S/4HANA public cloud, how many customers has adopted to S/4HANA public cloud, that figures has not been disclosed by SAP as of now.
Yeah, the question is like when we go for cloud certification, with whether they differentiate this both or they club it together.
Cloud certification is a different. SAP S4 HANA public cloud is having a different version. Some product features can also be different. So its certification is also different. So we have a separate certification for on-premise and we have a separate certification for cloud.
Yep.
You got your answer?
Thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay. Let's take a screenshot of this and then we'll move ahead. I wanted to provide that C code to you. That's what I was doing when this question came. So this is a T code / SMB config guide UI. Okay. If you don't have any other question, now we are starting with the Activate methodology.
Sorry, basic question here. I thought,
Okay.
yeah. So when we go for this S4 HANA implementation, Activate framework is the only way, is it? Or just I was a little bit confused. Uh, like should we always follow Activate the framework way itself, or is there any other option in that?
Activate is not the only way. Okay, Activate is what you can use it. Even if it is not mandatory, you use it fully. You go through, and whatever the Activate says, you exactly go through in the same way. It is also not mandatory. You can take reference of Activate and you can build your own methodologies. You can build your own ways of working.
Okay.
It is not mandatory to follow what Activate says. Even when SAP was there, the methodology, how deployments has happened, it was not mandatory that you only follow the SAP.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll put a little bit more light on that once we start this discussion on the methodology part.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So let's quickly discuss it. Now we are going to discuss Activate methodology. So if you will go through the SAP documentation, SAP said that this is a Activate methodology. We are basically, now we are talking about the phases, activities, and steps. SAP is required that this is a 4-phase methodology. Earlier we were having a 6 phases, now it's a 4 phase. So what phases SAP say that it's a prepare, explore, realize, deploy. SAP is saying that these are the 4 phases would be there, but actually it's not 4 phases, it's a 6 phases. Before prepare, your discover will come, and after deploy, your run will come. Okay, so these are the 6 phases in Activate methodology. Why a project has been called as a 4 phases? Because what SAP counted it that from here to here, your project would be running. Your implementation project would be here till deploy. Post that, after the deploy, once you go live, it would be your support part. And the discover part is the part which you do it before even you get started. Before even you get started with your project, before the kickoff of the project, the discover phase would be happening. So that's why it is not part of the SAP doesn't, whenever they say it's a 4-phase project, because it's just from the start and the end of the project. The discover would be the even the activities which we need to do it before even the project gets started. Okay, so we would be discussing now step by step here that what kind of different activities, high level activities, there are a lot of activities which we would be doing it, but what kind of different high level activities we would be doing it in each of this phase. Okay, that we are going to discuss now. So in discover phase, basically in discover phase, what kind of activities we do? Basically, we do our high level scope. Your high level scopes has been identified within your discover phase. You take access to the free trial, the experience which you take from the first experience, you take it from the free trials or from the best practice solution. We take the first experience from there. Your high level risk identification has been done within the discover phase. Your engagement with partners, that who would be the partner who would be helping you to get this deployed, would be happening with the discover phase. Your business case, the business case for SAP S4 HANA implementation would be, you would be preparing in discover phase, that what would be kind of advantages you are looking post go live, which will make a business case for implementation. You would be deciding within this phase whether you are going with the greenfield or conversion, whether you are going with on-premise or cloud, what would be your overall estimated budget. That all activities would be happening within the discover phase. Okay, so these are the key activities which will be happening from in the discover phase. We would also go through the documentation which is available on the Activate portal, that for each of the activity it explains in detail that how to do that activity and how SAP support that activity. How SAP would be providing that you would be able to do easily those activities, what kind of accelerators are available, we'll go through it. Then second phase is your prepare phase. Prepare phase is the phase where basically your actual project is kicking off. So your project kickoff would be happening in your prepare phase. Your detailed scope. So earlier we talked about high level scope. Your detailed scope would be coming in the picture of prepare. You would be preparing your detailed scope. Your project plan, the high level project plan would get prepared in the prepare state. Your resource onboarding plan would be prepared here, and then within that your onboarding of project manager would happen. Your onboarding of your product owner or multiple product owners would be happening here. Your initial training of your resources, the project resources we are talking about, train them on the Agile, train them on the Activate, train them on the SAP S4 HANA. People are not experienced with S4 HANA, they have worked on ECC. So the project training, project people training would be happening within this phase itself. Your SOW, statement of work finalization, would be happening here, the final, and your project charter would get prepared here. Then different kind of plans would be coming into the place here. Your high level test strategy and plan, high level. Your data strategy and plan would be coming here in this phase. And in this phase, you would be ready with your sandbox system with the best practices would be available. Your sandbox system would be available within the prepare phase itself. Authorization to the key project users and roles has been given within that phase itself. That would be happening in your prepare phase. There's a huge amount of other activities which happens, but I'm trying to highlight the key ones. In the explore phase, basically, now what would be happening in the explore phase? In explore phase, you would be having your fit and gap workshop. Okay, you would be running your scenarios on best practice client. Your business key users or core user also would be exposed to your best practice client, and they would be exploring the best practice client. And with this fit gap workshop or the multiple fit gap workshops, what we would be coming out of it? We would be coming out of it with the requirements. Your requirements would be coming out in the explore phase. Within these requirements, by using these requirements, you would be preparing your backlogs, where you will divide this requirement in must have, should have, could have, would have. Okay, so these kind of requirements dividation you would be doing, and based on this dividing of these requirements, you would be coming up with your sprint plan. Your sprint plan would be prepared here. Okay, apart from that, your master data preparation would start in this phase itself. Your testing preparation would also start in this phase. Your master data collection actually would get started within this phase itself. The initial activities, the workshop for master data and other parts would be happening within this phase itself. You would be preparing your functional specifications. That would also be happening within this phase. So that are the key activities which will be happening in the explore phase. Then in realize phase, what would be doing? In realize phase, actually we would be executing your sprint execution would be happening. Within the sprint execution, you would be doing your configurations. Then you would be doing your developments or enhancements, your master data loads would be happening here. Your engagement with business, with the demos. A lot of demos would be happening here. Initially, when we are doing a configuration or developments, the demos would be there. And based on the sprints we are completing, our testing would also start here. Your integration test and user acceptance test would be happening within this realize phase. If it is a conversion project, your within the explore phase, we expect that your development system conversion should happen, or it should initiate it, and in realize phase we should be finishing with the quality system conversion and complete testing. So when we end our realize phase, our solution is completely ready, developed, configured, and tested, user acceptance testing passed. That would be our solution, which should be available at the end of our realize phase. In deploy phase, basically, we are actually cutting it off. So in deploy phase, basically, is your cutover phase, where you would be doing a preparation for cutover. You would be running some mock cutovers, 1 or 2 cycle of mock cutovers you would be running it. We will be running a scenarios called day in a life, where basically we check the full functionalities of business, where the business is fully prepared. Within the preparation, we'll be checking the user readiness, your trainings would be finalized, end user trainings would be coming here. You need to make sure by this time the end users are trained. Your support plan should be ready. And then within the cutover, you will be doing your master data load and all of your transports, which is required. The transports would be going into the production system. If it is a conversion, your conversion to production system would be happening here. And once this is done, then we would be here, we would be having this would be go live. And this run is nothing but support. Your intensive care would start from here, which we have mentioned here in the run. So that would be the high level activities and the high level phases which would be there in Activate methodology. So far, I have not touched on the Agile part. In next slide, we'll be discussing about Agile, that how Agile would be supported in this. But this is at the high level, different phases would be there. So although this phases, you would be see that it is more or less similar than ASAP. Okay, any project which need to be delivered, these kind of these activities we need to do it, whether you call Activate or whether you call it ASAP or some another methodologies, the activities remain same. How we approach those activities and how we do those activities, based on that we can change it based on our methodology. Any questions on this?
So if it is a conversion, even the config also will get copied to dev, right? The standard config
From the
ECC.
Yes. So from the ECC, your when you do the development system conversion, your development config would also come into your development S4 HANA system.
Okay. So in that case, we have to follow that guided configuration for the Delta part, is it? Like if there is any additional functionality, which is not in ECC currently.
So any additional functionalities which is not there in ECC and we are activating in S4HANA, then we need to do the configurations. For that configurations, if you want to follow the guided configuration, you can follow the guided configurations. But it is very simple to go through the SPRO node and then activating the configurations from there. Most of the advanced functionality which has been introduced in S4HANA, you will be seeing that very little configuration is there in SPRO. Most of the things we need to do it through Fiori itself.
Okay, okay, yeah. Yeah, and this phases, like it seems similar to ASAP, like discover and run is more like advanced ASAP, ASAP methodology, which we have used to follow, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah. So change in the methodology would come up with the introduction of Agile. So next, when I will introduce the Agile, then you would be able to understand how the things will get changed if we deliver a project with Agile.
Sure. Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
But the phases, more or less, whether it's Agile, whether we do Activate with Agile, or we do the Activate with Waterfall, these phases will remain same.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, Parminder, your BPML and BEP is part of people sets?
So BBP, yes. So BBP would be the part of your project methodology and deliverable, but that more depends on the SOW, statement of work, which has been described. In that, what kind of deliverables we are expecting from a project from the different teams. That depends whether we need to create a BPMs, whether we need to create a business blueprints, or whether we need to create some another documents. That depends on that. So guys, one thing you need to keep in mind, whenever we talk about these methodologies, there is no exact standard through these methodologies. It is always adaptive methodology. Whether you would be doing adopting to the Activate, you need to do a lot of adoptions based on your client and based on your things you are doing, based on the scope you are having on hand. Okay, there are a lot of things which is there in Activate as activities. It doesn't mean that all activities need to be completed. You need to adopt it. Even though you are following Activate, within the Activate, you need to do a lot of adoptions. You need to check that which activities you need to go through it and which activities is not required for your project. So you need to adopt it and you need to come up with your own methodology.
Correct. Yeah.
So next thing which I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you the detail of these activities. I have just told you the high level activities, but there would be n different number of activities would be there, which we need to do in the project. And the Activate documentation, you can go through it to identify what kind of different activities are there and how these activities has been supported by SAP. Any other questions before I go ahead with that? Okay. If you don't have any other question, I am switching to ActivateMethodology Roadmapviewer. So this is our ActivateMethodology Roadmapviewer. So when I click on that, again, it would be opening my Roadmapviewer, which is the part of my Activate. And this is more related to your methodology, related to your phases and activities, which you need to accomplish in a project. So you can again log in with your S user ID, with your credential or without credentials. The difference would be the documentation access. Same kind of window would be coming here. We need to go here solution specific. So these are the cloud solutions, success factor. So this is transition to SAP S/4HANA on-premise. So we are going with that. This is transition to SAP S/4HANA on-premise system. So based on on-premise and cloud, some activities and methodologies will be changed. Okay, so what I have told you in high level, you can see in detail here. Okay, what kind of things would be happening it here in the different phases. So prepare, explore, realize, deploy, and run. So you can check it from here that what are the different things would be happening. You can see that sandbox system to dev system conversion would be happening within the your explore phase itself. Your team enablement, training planning would be happening in the prepare phase. So this is the documentation which will be giving you a lot of help. Within the each phase also, you will see here that what is the discover phase, what kind of things we need to do it here. It has been put it up in detail. So I strongly recommend anyone who is going to join a S/4HANA project, okay, to go through these documentations so that you understand that what kind of activities would require to be done. In prepare phase, what kind of activities we need to do it, high level things has been provided here. So this all information is high level. Now we'll go into the more granular level. So this is the overview. Now I will jump into content. So within content, you will see that in the left hand side here, I am having a different filters. So I'm having a filter with the phases. I'm having a filter based on the work streams. So different filters we can put it. So let's say you want to know what I need to do or what kind of activities need to happen in explore phase. So I've selected explore, and in the right hand side window, it would be showing me that what kind of different activities we need to do in explore. So here it says that we need to have a fit gap workshop. So within the fit gap, first thing is the delta design that we need to do. So you can go ahead in that to check what is the fit gap delta design which we need to do. Fit gap analysis need to be done. Gap validation need to be done. So it clearly explains that what kind of things we are supposed to do it in these fit gap workshops and how it need to be handled. All of the details that what need to be happen in these activities, you will be getting it from here. And at below of each activity, you would also be having some accelerators. So here it is having SAP S/4HANA 1909 feature scope description. That kind of files are available. Some web pages are available which will be guiding you. Some blogs access would be there, which would be guiding you that how these activities need to happen. So that you will find in each activity, you would be finding it, what task we need to do it. Okay, what are the accelerators and the detail of the activity. So you can also click on the task to go into the detail that what task we need to do is. So basically the objective here is to prepare for upcoming fit gap workshops, how we can prepare for the upcoming fit gap workshops. That is the task which we need to do it. Similar way we have gone into this, you can go into the another places also. Let's say now we want to check for the prepare one. Project kickoff meeting. What is the project kickoff? How the project kickoff need to happen? And they have also given a template for project kickoff, so you can also download these templates which you can use it for the project kickoffs. So a lot of templates you will be getting it from here itself, which you can quickly use it. So all these templates are reference templates. So this is a 35-page template is available. Okay, where basically it guides you that how the project kickoff need to happen, what kind of documentation you should use it, or what kind of presentation deck you need to use for the project kickoff. So this is a template. What are the project goals, success? So that kind of a lot of standard templates as a PPT, Word document, and Excel files, which you will get it from here, which you can adopt it, do some quick changes, and make sure that you are ready for your kickoff. So this is, they have put it that this kind of plan, project schedule, we need to show it. So these kind of templates are available. So if you are wondering, okay, you are having a kickoff meeting, what need to present here, how to prepare a presentation, these documentation will be helping you out. That's why it is called accelerators. Some of the very good documents are also available here. Just give you some another example. Project team enablement. Within the project team enablement, in the prepare phase, what we need to do? We need to do the conduct agile training for the project team. How we need to do the agile training for the project team? For that also they have given a template. You can use this template. Actually, I use this template whenever I provide the Activate trainings in the corporate. I initially prepared my documentation. I initially prepared my presentation by using these templates only. So within the Agile, what kind of things would be there? What is a Scrum? What is a Scrum development? What are the different roles and responsibility would be there? Okay, so you can teach your team about Agile methodology by using this. What is a Scrum Master? How Scrum Master would be performing? What activities need to be done? What is the structure of your team? How the Agile teams look like? What kind of different people would be there? Okay, so these all is a very good documentation which you can get it from here. Take a reference from here, modify it a little bit, and get it ready for your project activities. So now I will go one step back. So here we were going by, yeah, sorry, is there any question so far?
Yeah, sorry, one question. Here I'm not seeing anything on the performance part of it, like huge volume testing or performance testing. So in any of the phases, should it be somewhere in realize or deploy phase? Or
okay, so let me select all of the phases. We have selected all of the phases. Now I will go down and I will go into the work streams. So you can also filter out your information based on the work streams. So I'm now filtering it out based on the testing. So what kind of different testing would be required in the different phases? So it says that our test planning would be happening within the explore phase itself. So these kind of test planning we need to do. And within the realization, we need to do the test preparation, final test preparation, and test execution. So here you will see the perform different kind of integration, regression, and user acceptance testing, which has been given here. These kind of different testings we need to do. And these are the guidelines to do the test steps.
but volume testing or load testing, would that be a separate part due to, so if I have to measure that like at heavy load, would it be somewhere separately from this phase, or how are they doing in HANA migration?
So volume testing, generally we do it in your deploy phase, the last phase.
Okay.
In the deploy phase, we do the volume testing. Let's see here if they have put it under the technical architecture or interface part. This is a cutover, rehearsals are there.
Maybe in the interest of time, we can take this offline also.
Yeah, so what happens that it's not like that each and everything which you need to do, you would be getting it from here. There might be some steps or activities which your client and you want to do it and it's not there in Activate. It doesn't mean that you don't do it.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I say, that we need to adapt to the Activate. There would
So
be a lot of steps which you would not be doing it. So get it removed. There would be a lot of steps which you want to add it. You can get it added it.
Okay.
Okay.
I think there's something it was there when it comes to volume testing. Somewhere you just went like last page. Load testing, yeah.
Load testing.
Yeah. So which phase is this?
Okay, so this is in, I need to go one step back. In realize.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
So apart from that, on the left hand side, you can also check that if it is a system conversion, if it is a new implementation, okay, what are the steps would be there. Although what I have seen that conversion and new implementation, there are only few steps difference. There can be, you have selected the conversion part and there can be some steps which is not required for conversion. It's for greenfield implementation, or within the greenfield implementation, it shows some things which need to be done only for conversion. So that kind of errors are also there. Okay, so that's why you need to get it adopted. You need to check it wherever you feel that the steps need to be used. You can go ahead and modify and change the steps according to your requirement. There is a one button here. By doing this, you can actually download your project plan. It would be downloading in a zip file, where basically it would be downloading multiple different kind of projects plan, which can be put it into the Microsoft projects, or which can be used in your solution manager. That kind of different template it will give you. It will also give you the Excel template. Again, this need not to be followed as it is. Okay, you need to put the dates there, you need to put the timeline there. It would be just showing the high level activities which would be there in the different phases. So try to open this. The zip opener is not working for me, but with that you will be able to see the different files which you can directly use it. Let me give a final try. It's not working. So you can also view this file, unzip it, and you would be able to view the multiple project plans in Excel or into the different formats, which you can be directly put it in your solution manager or your MS project. Then another set of documentation which is available here is accelerators. So here you would see that when you click on accelerators, everything, all the links and the page, links of the files and the different forums are available in a single page. So this is the most important page. This has the most valuable information. Any kind of things related to your accelerators, templates, files, for reference, if you want to take it, you can get it from here. You can click on this to filter it out, that what are the different accelerators are available in the different phases. You can do that. Okay, but if you want to see at the overall level, you would be able to see from here. For project management perspective, if you're looking from project management perspective, what are the things SAP has provided? Agile definition, which we have already gone through, Agile management introduction. Then different templates which we are required. Project kickoff template we have seen, project guideline template. If you follow the project charter, for project charter also they have given a template. Phase sign-offs, they have given a template. Your quality gate checklists. Quality gate checklist concept, what is the quality gate checklist concept, how it need to happen. So that also has been given. So a lot of useful thing has been given which can accelerate. Sometimes we struggle, our implementation partner or client doesn't have those and they ask us to get it prepared. So we can quickly refer to these documents that what is the quality gates, we can try to understand, and how we can put a different quality gates as per our requirement. So there is, with each phase, we can have a quality gate, prepare quality gate, explore quality gate, realize gate. Again, this need to be adopted. Some clients doesn't prefer to have so many quality gates. Some prefer to have 1 or 2, and some prefer to have even more quality gates. What kind of activities would be there, which would need to be checked, checklist, everything you will get it from here as a reference. Deliverables, what deliverables we need to check, what are the different work stream we need to check, what activities they have done it or not. You can get it prepared from here. Okay, so that is about your Activate method. Within the Activate framework, what is the Activate methodology is there. Okay, what Activate methodology tells that what kind of activities you do, what kind of steps you do, and how Activate supports you to go get those activities done. So how Activate supports you? It supports you in 2 ways. First way, it supports you to give you a framework, to give you a guideline that what kind of different phases can be there, what kind of different activities can be there in each of the phase. And to do that activity also, what kind of tools, templates which will be required. They have given a reference templates to you, which can accelerate your different activities by following through these links which they have given. Any question on the methodologies before we go ahead to put some light on the Agile? Okay, guys, so if you don't have any questions, so I have a question you need to answer. So we understand now Activate, we have understand what is Activate, what is the framework, what are the best practice, how the guided configuration is there, how the methodology is there. So we have discussed that. Okay, now the next thing which we need to discuss it is Agile part. Okay, so my question to you is, what is Agile? What do you understand from Agile? Or let me change my question. Let me rephrase my question. Let's first discuss about because we all have worked on, before we go ahead and understand Agile, we need to first understand what is waterfall. So what I want to understand from you is, what is the waterfall methodology? Okay, and what are the drawbacks in the waterfall methodology? Or what are the shortcomings are there in the waterfall methodology as per you?
So waterfall methodology is kind of a methodology wherein there are different phases, and each phase has a milestone. So after one milestone is completed, we go to another milestone. If you say say project preparation phase, once it is completed completely, then we move to blueprint phase. Then based on that, we move to realization, build and develop phase and realization. And after each milestone completion, we go to next milestone here. And finally, we go live after cutover. So the drawbacks in this is the project has to complete to go to production completely. The timelines are such, like if it is a year, we have to wait for one complete year to realize the implementation benefit. There is no kind of a prototype methodology to see it in production.
Yeah, very correct. You have explained it's a milestone approach, and it takes a lot of time, and then we need to go ahead and we need to completely move to the production system. Anyone else who wants to put some highlights?
Yeah, main advantage of Agile would be it allows changes in between. Like if there is a requirement in between, you can accommodate. It's much more flexible. But waterfall, once your initial phase, you have taken the scope, it's not as flexible as Agile to change the requirements.
Okay, yeah, that's also correct.
In Agile methodology, we can hello.
Yeah, go ahead. I can hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead. I can hear you.
Yeah, in Agile methodology, basically we can the cost estimate for the project, but normally in waterfalls, the cost estimate which is being planned for a project is normally gets failed as of in SAP methodology.
Cost estimates. Okay, we'll discuss about that. Okay. Okay, fine. So let me explain. So how I'm going to explain here, first I will explain you how does the waterfall works, and I will explain you what are the shortcomings are there in waterfall. Then we will be discussing about Agile. So let's first discuss waterfall, how waterfall works, and then what are the shortcomings in waterfall, so that we would be able to clearly understand that whether the shortcomings which we are having in the waterfall can be overcome in the Agile. Okay, so how does happen? The phases happens in the waterfall like this. So first we'll be having a prepare phase, and as it said that it's a milestone approach. Once the prepare phase is finished, then we'll be having a design phase. Once the design phase is over, then we'll be having a build phase. Once the build is over, we'll be having a test phase. Testing also we divide. Sometime we'll be having a UAT phase, user acceptance testing. Then we'll have a cutover. And here we will be having a go live. Okay, so this is kind of a waterfall. Why it is called waterfall? Because the structure is like waterfall. It's like a flowing of water from one fall to another fall to another fall. That's why this approach is called a waterfall approach. Now, in this approach, what are the shortcomings are there? So first shortcoming in this approach is, so what happens that in our prepare phase or in design phase, we engage business users here. We get the requirement from them from here, okay? And we get them developed. We do the full functional specifications, and then we make them build. We have the internal testing here, and then we hand it over to the business again is involved here in this phase. In the UAT phase, business is again involved. Okay, so in the waterfall approach, the business involvement is not good. So we plan, okay, the business was here, then business, after giving a requirement, they go back into doing their business work. And then it comes to UAT. Before UAT, we call them, we give them some training. And then we ask them, okay, we have done this development. Now you test it. So what requirement business has given here, and when we do the UAT, there is a huge amount of time lag. Time lag between requirement and the delivery. What happened because of this timelines, when the business has given the requirement and when actually it has been delivered, many times business itself will forget that why they have given this requirement or what was the purpose that why this requirement has been given. Second problem is the time lag is huge. We have a dynamic scenario, business is changing every day. Sometimes happens by the time we take a 6 month of the time, 2 months of build and then 2 months of test, or 1 month of test. When after 4 months we are going to the business said the scenario got changed. For the scenario we have given the requirement, the scenario itself got dropped. Many times the business user, you will not get it. You will see he has changed the company, he has gone to some another project, and now nobody have a clarity that why this requirement was there and what whether it was a correct requirement or not. That is one of the problem in this waterfall approach. So due to this problem, it is having a less business buy-in. The waterfall approach, when we go through with this approach, where basically in different phases, different teams are working. It's not like always IT and business teams are working together. Okay, because of this big lengthy projects, in some phases IT is working and in some phases business will come and put their inputs and efforts. So because of that, you don't get a buy-in from the business. Business would not be having that amount of high buy-in. They would be coming in the UAT and they would be simply saying that we are not happy, whatever you have developed, that is what we don't require. We don't do the UAT sign-off. Okay, we get a hard time to get UAT sign-offs because of the involvement issues. But another issue we are having here, because we are completing our full build here and then it is going for the user and testing. So handling the change is very difficult. So if the user is coming here that no, I want this change, I want that change, you can do it, but doing that change in that phase is very risky. You have completed of everything, and the softwares like SAP, which is very much linked with each other, a lot of strings are there which connects. And then if you're doing some major change, there's a chance that you would be having a major failures. So handling a change in this waterfall is not that easy to do it. Another problem is team bandwidth is not properly used. You always would be having some time where basically you are facing the technical consultants which has been introduced early. during a prepare or design phase, they would not be having a much work during design. And your functional consultant, once a build phase has been come, they have completed their configuration, their load will reduce. The load would be more on the development consultants, and the business users who is involved is having a less role in this part. Okay, even though when it goes for the test, you are having internal testing, your functional consultants would be busy, and if there are not much bugs, your development team again would be having a bandwidth and they would be underutilized. So you would be having an uneven utilization of the resources. Some phases they would be working till night 10 and 12, and in some phases they would be having a huge amount of time. So resources are not completely utilized efficiently within this approach, within the waterfall approach. Risk of project failure is also higher in the waterfall. Risk of project failure is higher because our UAT is very last. After the UAT, we are just going live. Many times it happens that once we go develop, put all the efforts for the months, and we go to the business said that this is all crap, this we don't want at all. Either you don't understand the requirement, or either you don't understand the requirement, or you have not developed it correctly. And there is a lot of conflict happens between the IT team and the business team. And the risk of project failure is very high. It's as high that most of the projects get failed. Almost 60 to 70 projects get failed. Get failed doesn't mean that before going live it gets scrapped. The definition which we have taken from the analysis is after going live, if after a 3 year, if you see that product, if the usage has significantly dropped, earlier when we went live, 100 people was using and now only 20 people are using, that we consider as a failure of a product. Either product itself got failed, or the way it has been implemented, because of the implementation approach, it got failed. Most of the cases, it is not the failure of the product. Most of the cases, it's a failure of the product implementation. Because product always has a features and functions, okay, which is underlined. But that defined feature and functions, how well it has been implemented and used, that makes a major difference. That's why the project methodology is having a big role to play on the success of the projects. Okay. So these are the high level of drawbacks or the shortcomings are there from the waterfall project methodology. One side it is having some shortcomings, other sides it also have some benefits. What kind of benefits can be there from the waterfall? One of the benefit is it's easy to manage. For project managers and for the another project coordinators, it's a systematic approach and it's easy to manage. It gives you the good results. It gives you the good results where the scope is fixed. Scope is predefined and scope is hard fixed. This is what need to be done. These kind of hard fixed projects are there. This plays a this can be a better approach for that. What can be the another benefit out of this is you don't need additional resources like your Scrum Master, product owner. In some cases, the individual product can be, some cases it can be more cost effective. If you just see an individual project, some cases your agile approach can go ahead with the more requirement of the resources, and it can be the more expensive than the waterfall. Waterfall sometimes it can be more cost effective. It's not like that all projects agile can be implemented. Okay, I hold on. I don't speak on the agile. Agile will be speaking on the next slide that what agile can do. But I hope that with this explanation, you would be able to understand what is a waterfall project and what kind of drawbacks are there in a waterfall project in SAP implementation. Although there are some benefits are there, but more drawbacks. Generally now in any kind of projects, people are going through the agile approach because agile is having significant benefits in any kind of project delivery. We'll be discussing now agile in little detail, but I hope with this explanation you are clear that what are the major road blockers are there in waterfall. Any question on the waterfall, guys?
Hi, Parvinder. What is the role of that Scrum Master?
We'll discuss in agile. Any other question, guys?
Most of the SAP implementations fall under waterfall, right?
Most of the SAP implementation which I have done is based on the waterfall, although we are able to adopt agile also in some cases. And it can be also the mix of waterfall and agile.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so if you understand this one, now my next question to you is,
Parvinder. Normally in waterfall, the timeline is the major failure. Then even though waterfall methodology is still followed, what is the reason basically behind for this?
what is the reason for what?
As waterfall approach for SAP implementation is normally, I have observed many times it's become a failure due to the maximum drawbacks is the timeline, that the go live timeline we doesn't fulfill that. So, but still company they follow this waterfall approach in spite of using that agile methodology.
We'll discuss it. So that's again, first we need to understand what is agile. Then you would be able to understand why waterfall has been adopted, why agile has not been adopted. Okay, so guys, my questions to you is, what is agile? What is agile methodology?
It's like a methodology wherein your requirements go with a lot of iteratives, like in form of sprints, and so this e-sprint is with the kind of cross-functional teams always discussing on each requirement, and they go with the iteratives right from prepare phase till I believe go live or till testing. And again, they follow sprint 2. And if there is any correction, they collaborate that all ideas and they try to improve it in sprint 2, and they take it in chunks, like with different sprints.
Okay.
There might not be more design changes. Once a design is confirmed, we move a design like in part of sprint. So Agile falls in there. In Agile process, we don't do more design changes.
Changes. Okay. We'll discuss that. Anyone else has any idea that what is Agile?
Yeah. Agile is basically iterative development, wherein the main thing is you develop it, develop, test, and you have a prototype ready. So if there are certain changes, in fact, I would say you can still adapt it. You have business user presence. It's sort of a co-location wherein you have a business users and functional and ABAP all sitting together, co-located, and you develop a change, move it, and see a prototype, then keep on adding features as and when you pass by. And one more advantage of Agile is you mentioned the time lag, wherein people are sitting idle. Here, here it is more of a cross-functional sort of work. You develop more cross-functional consultants rather than people sitting in silos and developing. In short, you can develop, test, and get user sign-off quicker.
Okay, user sign-offs are quicker. Okay.
And changes, if it's doable, it can be adapted. You don't have to wait till the user acceptance testing in the end compared to waterfall.
Right, right. Okay. And now I will explain. So whenever we discuss about Agile methodology, these are the words which struck us: the changes, co-location, sprint, iterations, prototypes, easy to have user sign off. So these are the things comes in our mind. So what exactly the Agile is? Agile is basically nothing but a mindset. Agile is a mindset to deliver a project. I'm leaving behind everything, whether a sprint will happen, whether a waterfall will happen, whether one phase will finish, then another will finish. Basically, the first thing and the most important thing in Agile is your mindset to deliver the project. Okay. Agile basically follows some certain principles. Okay. What kind of principles they are? Basically, Agile methodology focus more on delivering a value to customer. Customer value delivery is the highest importance in Agile methodology. It gives a preference over individual than processes and tools. Individual have more preference than processes and tools as less preference. Your ready software, or not ready software, working software has more importance than your documents. It gives more importance to response to change than to follow plan. It talks about being agile and changing a plan wherever is required. Okay. So based on that, what does that mean? That in the agile methodology, we should be having a mindset to give the best delivery to the customer. Okay. Whatever is the best suited for the customers, that need to be delivered to the customer. Okay. If we follow those principles, what it means that agile is not a tool to have a cost reduction. Agile is not a tool to do the work on the reduced timelines. Although costs can be reduced, timelines can be reduced, but its main focus is not to reduce the timelines. Its main focus is not to do the cost reduction. Its main focus is to do the delivery to the customer. And whenever we do the delivery to the customer, it goes with some basic principles. What is the basic principles it follows? One of the basic principles it follows, it says that neither customer knows correct requirement nor developer knows best way to develop it. Okay, so what happens in our waterfall methodology, which we have talked about, in that what we think about, that we will be going into the design phase, customer knows everything about their business and they would be telling us the exact requirement what they are saying. And as a developer or as a consultant, we also know that how the things need to happen in SAP S/4HANA, how efficiently it need to be developed. Okay, what Agile say that the both parties are continuously evolving. So this assumption which we take in the project is a big assumption that the requirements are correct or the way of development which we are using is the best way. So our resources, business also understand the product on the way, on the go, they evolve and they come up with a better requirement. Same way happen with your development or the delivery team also. They understand that there are the better ways to do it, better ways to do the development. There are better tools and techniques to use which can handle things in a better way. So the both things are keep on evolving. So we cannot stuck to a rigid plan. We cannot stuck to a fixed plan that this need to be delivered. If we fix it, definitely the conflicts will come. And then what business require, he will not be getting it. If you don't get what is required, even though you would be able to successfully go live, down the line when you see after the 3 years, business would not be using it, that product. Okay. Second, the major thing it talk about, deliver in smaller chunks. Okay, rather than swelling, rather than eating something in full, it goes with the principle where the delivery need to be made into the smaller portions and we eat smaller portion and we digest smaller portions easily. Okay, so it work on the principle of deliver in smaller chunks and deliver in frequent deliveries. Rather than everything developing and delivering it together, we need to deliver in the multiple deliveries. Then another thing, collaboration between business and development team. It highly talk about your collaboration between business and development team. Your business and development teams need to sit together, work together closely throughout the project. Not on a particular phases, but throughout the project, the integration would be there. It's not like the business came, gave the requirement, and they are coming back at last to do the testing. No, it should not be happen like that. Our teams should be designed, agile teams should be designed like that. They are agile and adopted to changes. So team design should be like that, that they are adapted to changes. Whatever the change comes, they should be able to adopt it. And another thing is that the performance measure, okay, or the progress measure is your readiness of software, not the readiness of the document. In simple projects, what happens? We tell the business that the software would be ready in the testing phase. During the 6 months, we would be working on the documentation, the development is working, they are creating FS, TS, business blueprints, multiple documentation we are working on, but the software would be ready in the 6 months. That is not acceptable in Agile. You cannot say that your business blueprint is completed, your project progress is 10%, not acceptable. Majorly, your progress of the project would be measured by how much software is ready. Okay, that is the one which define that how much progress we have done. You remember I have asked one question in the previous sessions to you that what is the link between best practice client and agile methodology. So you have seen in the previous phases also. Now what SAP is saying that even discover or explore phase, get a system access and start using system. Start using software so that you would be able to see that working software, which is wherever you don't have a gaps, wherever the fit is there, at least for that, you are having a working software, which you have used it. That has been introduced, that change in the methodology has been done to make sure that we are having a working software available in the initial phase. That is a requirement of an agile approach. You cannot go ahead in the agile approach only working on PPT documents and then creating a blueprints and not giving access to the system, not showing a software to the business. Generally, that happens in the waterfall. We don't show the systems, we don't give access to the business. We just get scared that it's a half-cooked system, half things will work, half things will not work. So that is all the mindset, okay, which need to be changed. In here, when we talk about agile, we freely discuss even the half-cooked things, half-delivered things also, we freely discuss with the business and we also share the access for that. So based on these major principles, you will find it out, even though there are many things which we'll talk about, which can be adopted even in a waterfall frame also. So it talks about collaboration between business and the development team. Okay, that the both team need to be work together. So that collaboration can also be bring together by applying or going through in a waterfall approach, which generally we don't do it. So that's why agile is more of a mindset which can be applied to any project methodology. Any project methodology, if you are following it, you cannot go 100% agile, but you go 50% agile, 70% agile by following to the agile principles. So now what I will do, I will create a same kind of structure of a project to explain that how agile projects would be working and how these principles would be used in an agile project. So in an agile project, we are having a phase prepare, let's say. Then we are having a phase design. There are multiple ways we can handle the things. So I will explain 2-3 different scenario. After the design, you come up with that there are multiple requirement has come up from business. You remember the principle of agile? The principle of agile is delivering in a smaller chunks. Okay, so whenever the requirement has come, you need to divide your requirements into the smaller chunks. So we divide requirement based on must have, should have, could have, would have. Let's say there was a 50 requirements was there. 5 was must have, 20 is this, 15 is this, and 10 is would have. Okay, so these 50 requirements was there. When you go into your realize phase, you can do the sprint planning. You can go through into the smaller sprints. Okay, here the business has given you the requirement. This thing we ask business, first thing in the Agile, what we ask business to give requirement, to pen down the requirement as a user story. Very important, guys. Again, a change in the mindset. But I have seen that, sorry, we'll take a little bit longer, 15-20 minutes more to finish this topic. So please stay on. To finish, whatever we have seen in the general methodologies, that customer gives some requirement, they speak up, and we write it down, that what this is what they have said in the workshop, and the development would be required. Now what happens, you need to ask business to write down their stories by their own. They should write it down what they require it. So there is some guidelines also for the user story. User story is nothing but requirement, which should follow that who is giving this requirement, what role that requirement would be used, what exactly need to be developed, and what business benefits it would be coming up with. The benefit of this putting a user story is that whenever business speaks and whenever business users write, when they go and write it, they would be thinking again about the requirement, and they would be giving a more prescribed requirements. And if the requirement is kind of a wish list, it doesn't come in a pen down. When they write down, their wish list automatically gets removed. When they need to exactly write that what business benefits will come out of it, many of their small wish list, which is not be having that great impact to business, would automatically go out. So once this has been done, then we ask business to sit together and to put a sequence to the requirement. What is the first priority requirement, second priority requirement, third priority requirement, fourth priority requirement? Based on that, we'll be defining that what is the must have, that we cannot have a go live without them. That would be falling under your must have. Then you would be having some should have, could have, and would have. Then you would be having different sprints. You can have a first sprint, sprint 1. In this first sprint, you can do the basic config. And here, within the sprint and end of the sprint can be as small as a week to the couple of weeks, or to maximum to a 3 week. Okay, so you can do the business configuration, and you need to do multiple demos. Every week you need to do at least 2 demos with the business. Whatever you have done the configuration of your order to cash, you have created your sales organization, distribution channel, and now you are able to punch sales order in the system. You should sit with the business for 2 hours, show them that how this configuration has been done and how the sales order is now getting created in the system. Okay, so user should be involved within the sprint itself, and at the end of the sprint, whatever the things has been completed, you should hand over it to the business user. Okay, so that they can immediately start testing. So their sprint 1 test would start immediately for the scenarios where basically you don't require anything. You don't require any development. Straight away scenarios, they can go ahead and test it. And then you can having a parallelly, you can start with the sprint 2. Sprint 2, you can have some of the must have, and then same way it will be going with the test of sprint 2. And by the time this finish, you can go ahead with the sprint 3. It depends at how many sprints you are putting it together before you go ahead with the UAT. Okay, but there can be the multiple testing can be done, which would be the parallelly. So at the end of the sprint 3, you can say that there would be a UAT. And then there would be a go live. In these 3 sprints, might be we have not taken everything. The rest of the things would continue after the go live. It's iterative. It will continue after the go live. It's not like that 6 months we are taking or 9 months we are taking to get the delivery done. We want to do the delivery as soon as possible. The minimum requirement, your rather than calling it as a prototype, we call it minimal feasible product. MFP. So minimal feasible product to be used by business we delivered in the first delivery. It can include a single sprint go live. It can include the multiple sprint go lives also. Okay, so go live happened here. So what happened in here, all the places business user is used from, he has given the requirement and then the demos has given to him 2 demos a week. As soon as sprint is completed, system has given to him so that he can do some hands-on and he can do some testing. Even in this design phase also, we are giving system access to business so that the standard with the best practice, he would be able to see it. So what happened with this involvement in the sprint, if you totally go wrong, user has told you to go to east and you're going to the west, that kind of totally drastical, totally wrong things if you're doing, if you are not understand the requirement, that will come very early in these kind of approaches, and within the demo itself user will say that no, we have not expected like this, we are going totally wrong. And you are also in doing configuration, you are also in part of the development. If some small changes comes up, you would be able to adopt those small changes, or if it is a big changes, you would be able to say that the particular requirement need to switch from sprint 1 to sprint 2 or sprint 3, because these are the major changes are there. Okay, and now user is involved in the testing throughout the development phase and in the demos. So what happens when it comes to UAT, user already have a buy-in. So the situation which we have faced many times, user come, do 1 round of testing and they pick it off their hand, they said this is not accepted, we are not going to use this product, this is not at all which we have asked. That kind of statements business user cannot make, because he is a part of the journey. He has been shown the demos, he has also given the system, he has done some testing on the system. UAT, he cannot completely say that I am not at all agreed on this product, because user has a buy-in, so your sign off is a little bit easy in this approach. So at the UAT sign off, you face less challenges. Your chances of getting a project scrapped during a UAT is less in this scenario. Okay, so that is how the project need to be divided into the sprints. How a sprints can be divided, that would be totally open and dynamic question. How the sprints need to be divided, how many sprints need to be combined together to give a single go live. Okay, and how many different phases we need to go. We can also have a 4 phases of project, 4 sprints in one, another 4 in second, another 4 in third. Design phase, how much design we are going ahead together. We can also divide our design also in 4 different phases. First phase, we are doing a first design, and then second, third, and fourth design. I will give you one more example, which will give you a little bit more clarity that how these kind of designs can happen, and how little bit SAP related projects, how the sprints would be divided for them. Okay, so in this one, before I go ahead with the question and answer session, I want to highlight that what is required to go ahead with the Agile. First thing is that business mindset and your deployment partner, your implementation partner, both mindset need to be adopted to Agile. Mindset adoption is very important. Many times we see that business wants Agile because they only understand one thing from Agile, is that anything we want to change during the process, we would be able to change it. That only they know it. That is a totally wrong knowledge they have a half knowledge. So we want to make sure business mindset and the implementation partner, both mindset is changed to Agile. In Agile, first thing business need to understand, the delivery would be in the smaller chunks. Which means the benefit which they are going to get from the software is in a staggered way. If you are implementing S/4HANA, you might, in the first delivery, you might not be getting a benefit from the Fiori. Fiori is in the next sprints. Theory is not in this sprint. Okay, so business need to understand that if they're going with Agile, they need to divide their requirement in the smaller chunks. And that who need to divide these requirements? Business itself. So they need to understand that smaller chunks dividation of the requirements is very important. If you are not able to do it, you cannot do Agile. Second thing is business decision making, or I would just say decision making. Decision making would be very quick. Within a day or two, decision need to be made. When we say that the user demos would be happening here, in this user demos, if user asks, I need to do this change, it should not happen that you will go that we will be going into the change log and then it will going to the steercom and then steercom will make a decision and it will take 2-3 weeks to make sure that whether the change need to be done or not is taking a time. So decision making would be very fast. These kind of user demos, whatever the things are coming up, there would be the role is very important role in Agile, product owner. Product owner should be able to quickly answer to the changes and he should be able to discuss with the development team. If there is a quick decision, quick changes, decision need to be made that they need to be adopted. If that change is little bigger, the product owner need to make a decision that particular requirement need to move out from the sprint. So you go ahead with the 4 requirements. One requirement has drastically changed. Either this one requirement you push down to the another sprints, or you said that this requirement is very important. Then I reduce out of 4, 2 other requirements I am pushing down to another sprints. So that kind of things need to be done by a product owner and he should be able to make some quick decisions. Many times business is just waiting to make decisions. That's not accepted in the Agile approach. Third thing is that business need to make sure that business users are co-located and available for project work. This is one of the another reason why Agile cannot be adopted by many businesses. When we say that this Agile approach is very benefited, it will give benefits to the business and it will be also giving a high quality deliverable. Okay, but still, what the most important thing we have said in the principle, collaboration between the business and the development team. So business team, some of the certain users need to be fully involved in the team, who would be sitting within the project team, making sure that they are available to do the testing, to do the hands-on, and they are available for the demos which the project team is giving. So they need to make sure that that kind of availability, which might that they need to separate out some of the key business resources from the business for few months and given to the project team. Many times business is not able to do it. So again, the Agile is in the question. Agile cannot be adopted. Okay, so that I have high level explained you that how the sprints need to be divided in the Agile, and based on the sprint dividation, how the delivery would be happening in the Agile. Till that time, if you have any question, you can ask it now.
Yeah, Parminder, so basically in this sprint deployment, so this deployment, when we say go live, like each sprint goes to production, right? And there, like S4 HANA, like when it is going for the first time, say in SAP methodology, entire system is live and all the users are live in production, right? In this case, how it works, like because it is kind of sprint-wise deployment to production, does it mean that not all the scenarios are there in S4 HANA?
Okay, now I will explain Agile for S4 HANA. How the Agile methodology can be adopted for S4 HANA. So one thing we need to understand, it's not mandatory that each sprint need to go live. It's not mandatory. You can combine a multiple sprints together to going live. That's what we do with S4HANA. Although with the Agile methodology, you can do the deployment of each sprint's go live also you can do. But in S4HANA generally projects, what we do our prepare phase. This is a single phase. We do our design. The problem with SAP is it's a very big product and it's very integrated one. Okay, so to do a classic exact agile approach is very difficult. So we do a prepare, we do a design, and then in your realize phase, we divide into the sprints. Sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3. And here at the end of the sprint 3, you can say that you went live. Not live. After this, you would be having your deploy, combined deploy of sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3 together, and then go live here. Now, the most important part here would be dividing your requirement to smaller chunks. Okay, let's say it's a greenfield implementation. In greenfield implementation, what things we would be having in S4HANA? We would be having a configurations. We would be having a certain business processes which need to be delivered. We will be having a list of write-ups. Okay. Now these write-ups also need to be divided. Must have, should have, could have. Then you would be having involvement of Fiori. That Fiori need to be adopted. Then you can have a lot of additional function and features which can be there. You can, somebody wants to adopt to AATP. Somebody wants to adopt to DDMRP or MRP Live. Then you want to adopt to PPDS, EWM, TM, then you want to also include some BI tools for better reporting. So in overall project scope, you need to divide your scope. And what is your scope? If you are able to divide your scope, you say that out of these business processes, okay, there are some complicated business process which right now I'm doing on the third-party software. Okay, and I can continue with that for next 6 months to 1 year. So those business processes I drop. That will go later on SAP. But my legacy system, whatever the business processes are there, which we are going to stop, only that business processes we are putting in scope. Configurations related to that. Within RISEF also, we have included must have. Okay, and we say that Fiori would be coming up in the further sprints. So this has been divided, these 3 sprints has been divided for first 3 things, and we have went live. Then you can have another sprint, which you can start after this, or even you can also starting after finish of sprint 1 or sprint 2. Further, you can go the parallel approach. In that one, you can start your sprint 4, which can be the remaining RISEFs. Okay, you can do a testing for them, and then you can go live with the sprint 4. By the time this testing is happening, you can start your sprint 5. For a selected Fiori application, let's say you have selected order to cash and procure to pay, you are going live with Fiori application. You have selected around roughly 80 applications which need to go live. That you have included in sprint 5. Quickly activated those applications and then do a test for them and go live. So that kind of different 20 to 50 sprints you can have, and you can have detailed, your full portfolio can go up to 2 years. but the first delivery can come in 4 to 6 months. So that dividation of the work is very important. If you are able to divide, if your customer say that I also want AATP, I want MRP, all Fiori also should come into the place. My rise of list of 150 should also be there. Okay, and parallelly, I also want to go live with EWM also. With that bigger scope and one single delivery need to make to happen, then it would be a big 1 to 1.5 year project. Okay, so the same way we are trying to do whenever we go to the Agile, we ask business to reduce the scope. Reduce the scope doesn't mean that we are asking business to drop the scope. Reduce the scope means for the first go live, which you are going ahead, what should be the scope of that? And they need to have a mindset that the product they are going to have, they would be having a high leverage from this is next 2 to 3 years. It's not that you have gone live, SAP is gone live, all benefits started coming up. It's an agile approach, it's an iterative approach. SAP has gone live, you don't have a benefit from the analytics because Fiori has not gone live. You don't have a benefit from AATP, advanced backorder processing, because we have not implemented yet. That is going to come in the next sprint. Okay, so this is how Agile can be adopted for S/4HANA. The another approach can be you can just go ahead with that what we have done in one of our case where we have a landscape transformation where we prepared one global template and we did the country rollouts. So we went ahead with the waterfall approach, but wherever we can follow the agile principle of involving a business, giving a demo, all things has been done. So prepare, design, explore, realize, deploy, go live. This is the first master template for South Africa has been delivered. Okay, then it has been selected. Okay, the next country to go ahead with this is Indonesia. So what happens that after this, it has gone into the agile approach. Okay, so what we did in the agile approach, we did a small prepare phase. Okay, and then we did an explore phase. In the explore phase, what we did, because it's a master template, we went and we had 2 weeks of workshop. I'm just giving example how the agile can be adopted. 1 week was explaining them the master template and checking what are the gaps are there. Second week is working with their Indonesia business team and to identify what are the scenarios are there where there is no gap or there is no significant gap that the gap should not stop us to do the testing. That we have identified in the second week. So the order to cash, procure to pay, many scenarios are there, which just doing a configuration, we can go ahead. And then we prepare a cookbooks. This cookbook is nothing but an Excel template where we take their configuration, how many plants need to be created, what company codes need to be created, that has been prepared. And some sample master data workshop also done in the second. We collected some master data also. So that has been done in the second week of the explore phase, where we have their configurations, scenarios which is not impacted with the gaps, and the sample master data. Then we had a sprint for 2 weeks, only 2 weeks sprint. And then we tested, starting our testing here, first round of testing. So in this 2 week sprint, what we did the basic configuration, we put it the master data, we make the system ready for the scenarios which is not impacted for the gaps. And they tested this first. By the time they tested this, their another sprint become ready with their gaps, and then they tested the full UAT testing with the gaps. That's how we reduce the timelines for the country go lives. And then we also followed this approach where we went ahead with the parallel country go live. where one sprint is working for the one country and then another sprint is working in parallel for the another country. That kind of approach also we have identified. First set has been went with the waterfall, and then the country rollouts we went ahead with the agile. Okay guys, so we had a very detailed discussion that how the agile need to happen, and we have also consumed a lot of time. I will take a quick break here, and we are also breaking for our session. I will ask if you have any question you can ask now. Otherwise, we will be ending our session for today.
How does conversion project fit into Agile? Like they go by chunks, whatever sprint 1, sprint 2 concept, main developments, objects, or main customizations?
Yeah, so conversion projects with S4HANA also, you can divide the chunks. Definitely conversion, the full conversion need to happen of the production system. Okay, so you can have one prepare. You can have your explore, realize, deploy, go live. So now in this one, the realize phase, first you can mention it, the go live would be happening with the full conversion. Minimum is that thing in the conversion, that is a minimum chunk. So what is the minimum chunk is? Conversion itself is the minimum chunk which need to happen. Here you can divide into the sprints of your first development system conversion, quality system conversion, and in the deployment your production system conversion would be happening. And in this phase you can also have your sandbox system. So that you can define as a sprints. You can work in the sprints. And then minimum go live one would be happening with conversion. After conversion, you can have a Fiori implementation as another sprint or another phase. You can have another sprint for your developments or improvements. So we have done implementation of the conversion where the Fiori has been involved, development, their RISES was also there within the conversions which need to be implemented. They want to improve it. And then we ended up going live in a year, or rather than a year, 14 to 15 months. And then the companies which is dedicated to Agile, they said that, okay, the first motive is just to move to conversion. We also was able to do the conversion in 5 to 6 months, where the first approach was only, the first sprint was only dedicated to convert the system to S4HANA. No another improvements, no Fiori applications, no advanced functionality which come up with S4HANA, no additional developments. Although those all was in the scope, but that were in the separate sprints was put it. So first sprint conversion, second sprint their mandatory go lives, third sprint introduction of Fiori application for order to cash or procure to pay, fifth sprint development of the Fiori, sixth sprint then go ahead with the further Fiori application for finance or other modules, go live with those Fiori applications, then adoption to the DDMRP, adding EWM, adding TM. You can keep on doing your sprints and improving your system, improving your platform.
Yep. So product owner, you said, right? Product owner key decision. Will there be a product owner by module like source to pay, order to cash, ATR, or how they are defined in SAP for SAP project?
Product owner, there should be at least one lead product owner, and there can be multiple product owners who can report to it. But one lead product owner should be there who would be responsible for full S4HANA. He should be from business side, should be having a business background and good repo in the business, plus SAP also he should be knowing it. That is the requirement for a product owner. So that there can be one lead product owner, and then there can be another product owner for finance who is reporting to this product owner. Key decision making is with this guy, and whenever some change comes for the finance, he is taking suggestion from this finance ones. For logistics, there can be one, and then for analytics and reporting, there can be one. Totally depend on what is your budget, how many people you can introduce it. Generally, one product owner can also work because you would be having a solution architects from your consulting side, which can support a product owner to make decisions.
Thank you.
Any other question, guys, before we end our today's session? Okay, so if we don't have any another session, we are ending our session here for today. Next two sessions are very important. We are starting Fiori tomorrow, and most of the things on hands-on in this training would be happening on Fiori. Okay, so please make sure that you understand the basics of Fiori. Otherwise, you are not able to access the application. You are getting some error in the application. Application is not loading. You will be coming back to me if you don't understand the first two sessions. Okay, so if you understand first two sessions, that kind of troubleshooting, activating Fiori application, what role need to be assigned, that kind of things you would be able to do by yourself. So very important. Tomorrow we are starting with Fiori. So please attend next two sessions.
Hi, Parminder.
Mm-hmm.
There was one question actually in today's explanation what you said about the Agile. So it's a best practice that whenever if you go for any Agile methodology for deployment or SAP conversion, then as much as sprint it is we can break, it is better.
Yes, but there should be readiness for the Agile. That's what I said, that your business should be ready, your implementation partner should be ready. They should understand when they are going ahead with Agile, a lot of things they need to make sure are there in place. Business should make sure that the business people are available. Okay, business people are continuously available, whatever is required for Agile. Decision making should come very fast.
Yeah, if all those things match, then breaking in the process as much sprint, it will be better.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Okay, guys. So sorry, today was a lengthy topic. We stretched almost for 3 hours. Thank you for your patience, and we are ending our session here for today. And we'll join back again tomorrow, and we'll start our Fiori learnings. Thank you all for joining today. Have a good day. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.